If I had to come out and make a bust a dance, I go dance, I go dance, I go dance, I go dance. Me not give bad energy a chance. I go dance, I go dance, I go dance. I'll have a party, yeah, 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 yeah. For all who try to kill me, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You feel you know me, I know everything, but you know, yes you know, yes you know, and you see everything. You know, so bad mind people, live up your life, live up your life, live up your life. Give thanks and praise for life. Live up your life, live up your life. Try blast me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You're bitter, you're bitter. Your heart black like your soul, cause you're bitter. You're bitter, you're bitter. But life is a beautiful thing. Every day I jump and I sing. Only vibes I bring. My life is a beautiful thing. I love the life that I live in. Don't tell me how I live it. Things might be hard, but I drill it. And I working, I working. God bless the willing. Stop crying now. Time to get up and live like never before. Life is too short to drown, you know. Oh, yo, yo. Well, it's a game of running out. People don't even know what they're talking about. We really, really going to see again. I know soon we go party. You try put me down in a hole, you go feel it bad. Cause you feel that you know everything. But you know, yes you know, and you see everything. You know. So all my haters, live up your life, live up your life, live up your life. Thanks and praise for life. Live up your life, live up your life. Bad mind people, live up your life. Live up your life, live up your life. Give thanks and praise for life. Live up your life, live up your life. Try blast me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You're bitter, you're bitter. Your heart black like your soul, cause you're bitter. You're bitter, you're bitter. But life is a beautiful thing.
Greetings, 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 and salutations, one and all.
Only vibes I bring.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It's Community and Finance Night right here on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. Welcome to the broadcast.
I go dance, I go dance, I go dance. Me nah give bad energy a chance. I go dance, I go dance.
Yeah, man, call up somebody.
Party.
And just go dance, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For all who try to kill.
I want to say big ups to each and everyone locked in right now. Those on TuneIn Radio on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew.
Everything, but you know, yes, you know, yes, you know.
Welcome, welcome.
Everything, you know.
Those locked in from across the pond, One Harmony Radio. Top of the morning to you over there in the UK. King Genius, Queen Genius. Much love.
Live up your life. Blast me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You're bitter, you're bitter.
I want to say big ups to those who are locked in out to New Jersey. NIE Radio. Hanging out at New Jersey's finest, the motivator.
Every day I jump and I sing. Only vibes I bring. My life is
I want to say blessings to you.
I love the life that I.
Much love to the massive out of New York.
Don't tell me how I live it.
Exhibiting the power of music, hanging out with those on island worldwide.
And I work.
China Nicole, Gary, and the rest of the Jump Out crew.
Now.
Yeah man, Jump Out Productions turned up.
Life is too short to drown, you know. Oh, yo, yo.
I want to say big ups to those out of Long Island.
People don't even know what they talk.
Hanging out on Reggae Pulse Radio.
When I say again, I know soon we go party. You try put me down.
DJ Atomic Force and crew, much love to you.
Cause you feel that you know that you know.
Big ups to Mr. Lindsay on the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com.
Yes, you know and you see everything.
Representing South Florida.
So all my haters, live up your life. Live up your life. Live up your life.
Big ups to those on PEMGTV.com.
Live up your life. Live up your life. Bad mind people, live up your life. Live up your
WGLRO, Oliwap Radio, Dusik Media Group's family out of New Jersey, out of Texas.
life. Live up your life. Blast me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you.
Your heart black like your soul, cause you're bitter. You're bitter.
As I am, with the Clubhouse Massive.
It's a beautiful thing.
Those locked in on Facebook Live.
Sing. Only vibes I bring. My
those who are on YouTube Live.
I love the life that I live in.
And of course, those who are right here at the home of the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.
I love my party. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Truly glad to have you. Couldn't do it without you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you have my word, I wouldn't even try.
Know everything, but you know, yes, you know, yes, you know, and you see everything. You know, so bad mind people live up your life.
I want to say big ups to my segment sponsors, Pulsey Media Group, and being in the moment is priceless. Go ahead and give them a call.
Live up your life.
They can do everything you see here on kevinstew.com and more. So you have a website and you're looking for somewhere to host it, they can do that. They host mine. They can provide you with streaming services on a secure platform, whether yours or theirs.
I love the life that I live in.
To stream that event,
Tell me how I live it. Things might be
that church service, that wedding, that funeral, that seminar, that party, graduation, you name it.
God bless the willing.
They got you.
Stop crying now. Time to get up and live like
They'll
never.
take your videos, your photos, your streaming, your ads. Give them a call, 754-999-1140.
Well, it's a game of
That's 754-999-1140.
basketball. We really, really going to see again.
Tell them Kevin Stew sent you.
Soon we go party. Yeah. You try put me down in
Want to say thank you to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands.
cause you feel
Althea issues a licensed massage therapist operations of Broad County, North Miami-Dade and South Palm Beach counties.
and you see everything.
She comes to you,
You know.
bringing her table, her oils, and over 20 years massage therapy experience.
Live up your life. Live up your life. Give thanks.
Go ahead and give her a call today. Schedule her appointment, 954-655-9000.
People live up your life.
That's 954-655-9000.
Give thanks and praise.
She only has one request,
Live up your life.
outside of paying her, that is.
I bless me on faith.
It is to get her off her table and go sleep somewhere else when she's done.
I am it.
Because like me,
Black like
you're guaranteed to fall asleep.
I am bitter. But life is a beautiful thing. Every day I
Want to say thank you to Reggae Global Entertainment.
dance, I go dance, I go dance. Me not give bad end.
Reggae Global acts as your booking agents, handle your tour management, take care of your business registration, legal service referrals, music production, marketing, promotion, and much, much more.
To kill me.
Go ahead and give them a call, 954-804-8199.
But you know.
That's 954-804-8199.
Yes, you know. And you see everything. But you know. So bad mind people live up your life.
Tell them Kevin Stew sent you.
Live up your life. Give thanks and praise for life. Live up your life. Live up your life.
Thank you to McNeil Trucking.
Instagram, Twitter. You're bitter. You're bitter.
McNeil Trucking is a veteran-owned, licensed and insured mover in the state of Florida.
I am bitter. But life is a beautiful thing.
So you're gonna move from the Keys to Jacksonville,
But I sing. Only vibes I bring.
from Naples to Palm Beach,
Sing. I love the life that I live in. Don't tell me how
from Pompano
things might be hard.
to Pensacola.
And I working.
If you wanna move to any points in between, you wanna put some things in storage, you don't have the manpower, you don't have the transportation,
Never be
don't worry, you have the name, you have the number.
short to
McNeil Trucking,
oh, yo.
954-406-9740.
People don't even know what it
That's 954
we really going to sing.
406-9740.
We go party, yeah.
Tell them you heard about them on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew.
All you go feel it, man.
We'll be glad to know you did.
You know that you know everything, but you know, yes, see everything, you know. So I'm
Inviting you all to call a friend, tell a friend. Friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too.
friends for life.
Because the information that we share is good for everybody.
People live up your life, live up your life, live up your life.
The phone line is open.
Thanks and praise for life. Live up
Those of you watching can see it scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
It's 773-789-STEW for those that are listening in. 773-789-7839 gets you in touch.
Every day I jump and I sing.
You can call, text, WhatsApp, Telegram.
Go party, yeah.
They all work.
You know, all you go feel it, man.
And and get you in touch right here in the studio.
Feel that you know everything. But yes, you know, and you see everything.
The sound of Kerwin the Boys kicking us off tonight.
Live up your life.
And that's what the track is called. Live up your life.
Give thanks and praise for life. Live up your life. Live up your life.
I don't know what you choose to live it up with. If you choose cash or...
Live up your life. Live up your life. Give thanks and...
Yeah, we're talking a little bit of finance tonight. Personal finance, that.
Blast me on Facebook.
It's Community and Finance Night. Of course, you're also invited to jump into the stew pot. Those of you wondering what the stew pot is, it's what others call a chat room.
It's a beautiful thing. Every day I jump and I sing.
Well, you see, because we're fancy over here on kevinstew.com, we call it the stew pot. Just come on over to kevinstew.com.
You try put me down in a hole, you go feel.
And you are there. You don't need to register. You don't need to offer your firstborn an internal organ or a blood sacrifice. Just go to kevinstew.com. Scroll down on the page. And of course, you're in the stew pot. You can remain anonymous. You can put your name or a moniker of your choice. We only ask that you remain respectful.
Give thanks and praise for life. Live up your life. Live up your life. Blast me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, man, blast me everywhere. But just live up your life.
But life is a beautiful thing. Every day I jump and I sing. Only vibes I bring. My life is a...
You know, life is a beautiful thing, and it is only clouded at times by things like worry and stress. And unfortunately, a lot of that is caused by wondering how it is that we're going to make it through a particular period of time because of various external factors. And a lot of it comes from the flow of cash or the flow of money, whether it is flowing to you or flowing from you. But a lot of that stress comes from that. And throughout my life growing up, there was always, I don't know if it's a Caribbean thing, I don't know if it's a Jamaican thing, there was always a reminder to keep some money under your mattress or in a shoe or in a box or something. Keep some money at home on hand, yeah? And coming from a cash-driven society, it was one of the things that I guess we did without even thinking. You know, always having some money on hand. Well, according to MSN.com, the question was asked, how much money should you keep on hand? Whether it is at home or just available to you. How much money should you have readily available at all times? Digital payment platforms like Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, these have changed the way that we use and keep physical cash. Most people rarely keep cash on their person. And I guess you have much less keeping it at home. However, there are always unexpected events that can lead to the necessity for having a bit of cash at home, particularly emergencies ranging from, well, what we have in South Florida typically come in the form of hurricanes. So you have hurricanes over in California, you have wildfires. Well, I guess if you're keeping cash in your house and there's a wildfire, you have to know where exactly that cash is so you can reach it. Or you keep it in a fireproof safe. That way, when the fire dies down or it is out, you know, you can go back and retrieve this cash. But it is recommended to some that you keep this cash. And these are some of the emergencies that would pop up. Even power outages. You know, if there's no power, then how are you going to use the ATM? Or if your phone dies, how are you gonna use one of those money transferring apps? If you can't access your digital currency or your banking systems are down, having cash can allow you to get things, necessities like your gas and food, medicine, and that alleviates some of the stress when it comes to the money flow. From a security point of view, cash is the most insecure asset you can have. Keeping it to a minimum, especially in the house, in the case of fire or theft, is a good rule of thumb. And this says Ryan McCarthy, CFP from McCarthy Money Matters. Just how minimum is up for debate among financial experts. Daniel Mayora, CFP and founder and owner of Spark Financials, suggests you should keep enough money on hand to get you a couple of gallons of gas, pay for a delivery tip, or to help in unfortunate events, around $100 to $200 at a time. I don't know how much she pays for gas if $100 is only going to get her a couple of gallons. But hey, emergency funds should not be held at your home. They should be stored in a high-yielding savings account of your choice. And this is a recommendation of one of the financial experts. McCarthy framed it more in terms of a ratio. In terms of amount, don't let your cash exceed 10% of your overall emergency fund or $10,000. You can't deposit more than $10,000 in cash in a given year without raising red flags with the IRS. It doesn't happen. Yasmin Pernell, personal finance expert and founder of the Wallet Moth financial website, suggests you keep enough cash on hand in case of an emergency. And that would require you to access temporary accommodation, food and drink, gasoline and medication. And she added, as a general rule of thumb, having access to $1,000 in cash at home would ensure you can at least pay for immediate expenses in the case of a national emergency. But if it's a national emergency, those coming to your aid should be pretty much giving you a break anyway, because most people don't have cash on hand because they've gotten so comfortable with digital currency. So, and digital transactions. So, in that respect, there should be some type of an allowance being given anyway. Ted Capwell, an investment manager and co-founder of Safe Trade Binary Options, a financial news website, suggests that instead of keeping cash for this kind of emergency, you could keep staples. For example, instead of keeping $500 of food, buy frozen food and store them in a refrigerator. Or buy an emergency kit instead of keeping money for hospital bills. Now, if you have an emergency kit and don't know how to use it, then it kind of defeats the purpose. And if you're going to buy food to store it in the freezer and then the power goes out, if you have an electric stove, how do you cook that food? So, you have to balance things out. Some people think of things as it relates to how they operate in their general area. Some people have gas stoves. Yeah, natural gas stoves. For the majority of Florida, where I live, it's electric. Now, there was one place that I lived that I did have a gas stove, and it really was cool. Because growing up, I had a gas stove, and cooking on a gas stove is a little bit different from cooking on an electric stove. But I loved my gas stove in that apartment. I really did. When it got cold, the apartment was always warm. Why? Because a gas stove has a pilot light. Little tricks. When I lived in Chicago, I had a gas stove. Worked wonders in winter time. Can I tell you? Amazing. But I digress. Crapwell says you don't need to stash hundreds of thousands of dollars because that's just over preparing for a catastrophe that has a really low chance of taking place. Yeah, yeah, I'm on the fence about that one. Jesse Kramer, founder of the Best Interest and Relationship Manager at Cobblestone Capital Advisors, believes less than $1,000 is ideal. It depends person to person, but an amount less than $1,000 is almost always preferred. There simply isn't enough good reason to keep large amounts of liquid cash laying around the house. Banks are infinitely safer. Well, banks don't. Well, I guess if you're keeping it at home, you're not getting any returns on it anyway. So that 1% that you would get keeping it in a bank, well, I guess that works. To drive home this point, he shared that neighbors of his parents wound up badly burnt in a house fire because they were trying to get their hidden stockpiles of cash. Like I said, if you're going to keep cash at home, get a fireproof box that you can keep the cash in. That way, when the fire dies down, you can reach to your safe, get your money, and take care of whatever you need to take care of. Outside of that, I don't know how much good it's going to be. So if you're going to keep cash, you may as well keep it on you. And if you're going to keep it on you, keeping $1,000 on you at all times, if people know that you have it, then there's bound to be somebody who's going to be asking you for some or trying to jack you for some. Either way, you're going to end up having less than that. Now, this is an extreme example based on the one where the neighbor got burnt. But the point stands. In today's world of ubiquitous credit cards, Apple Pay, PayPal, Venmo, etc., there aren't enough good reasons to keep large amounts of cash in the house. Just like having more than one credit card, I guess it would be important to have more than one digital payment system and more than one bank account also. So if you have a regular savings account, you have at one bank, well, savings and checking at one bank, you have another financial institution that you can access that has an amount of money over there, like a credit union. I think going with a traditional bank and a credit union and possibly an online bank would be ideal, and you just split your funds or whatever money that you have, you just divvy it up on at these three locations, because at least that way, if you can't access one, you can access another. The chances of you not being able to access any of them are, in my opinion, much slimmer. I don't know how you feel about it. 773-789 Stu, get you in touch or jump into the Stu pod. Tell me, give me your views. Tell me how you feel about it. What is your go-to? How do you keep money at home? How do you keep cash on hand? Now, no matter how much cash you keep at home, you'll want to keep it safe. And this is what Matthew Daly, managing director at Tiger Financial, says. To begin with, you need to locate safe havens for it. The loss of a large amount of cash can happen in a matter of seconds in your home if your home is damaged by a flood or fire. Fireproof safe storage is therefore a good idea. See? Someone that agrees with me. In addition, you'll serve as a lure for would-be burglars. Well, if it's a burglar and they want to come into your house, they're going to come in there anyway. They don't know what you have. So whether you have cash at home or not, they're going to come in. Even if you purchase a high-tech safe, a criminal may still attempt to break into your home. Even if you don't have a safe, a criminal may attempt to break into your home. So for me, that point is kind of moot. For financial purposes, or for security purposes, I should say, this money should be kept in a bottled down or bolted down safe with any other valuables in the home. Make sure the safe is fire and waterproof to avoid any damage. Make sure you deposit and replace the money on occasion so that bills don't get too old. So cycle out money. J. Zigmund, PhD, CFP, founder of Child Free Wealth, a life and financial planning firm based in Mississippi, offers another word of caution. Having money on hand, of course, comes with the threat of theft or loss. It also comes with the threat of spending. But also, it may be a challenge for you to not spend it. See what he said? Oh, he was listening to me. I've heard of people freezing the money, literally, to slow them down, giving their spouse and child the key to the safe or other things to slow themselves down. Figure out a balance that works for you. Or find a way to learn some discipline. How about that? Don't panic. When things get bad, people have a tendency to panic. And taking out a lot of cash to protect against emergencies can actually work against you. Contrary to popular belief, you are already protected from a bank failure. If a bank goes under, according to Daily, the standard FDIC insurance is $250,000 per depositor per insured bank for each amount. To avoid total collapse of the entire financial system at once, you can simply divide your fortune among several banks, whatever you consider to be a fortune. A good rule of thumb is to keep as little as you think is necessary. While it might seem weird, cash actually loses value over time. Well, anybody that has been paying attention to their spending power should realize that by now. Unlike money in circulation, which loses value over time, money in bank retains its worth and on occasion even climbs in value. A safe financial institution is the only way to ensure the safety of your money, according to Daily. Now, again, if that institution isn't giving you returns on the dollar, significant returns, I'm talking about something other than 1% annual, then anything is fair game. Right? Getting back $1 is better than getting back no dollars. But at the same time, you have to look at the bigger picture. How much is that institution making from your dollar? Yeah, they got bills to pay too. And they're in business. Nobody starts a business but to make a profit. So best believe they're going to make a profit from your dollar. It is up to you to find that institution that works best with giving you back something also, for them making $1 from you. So it's a kind of a barter system, and you just have to work that out the best way you see possible. Yeah? We're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to continue talking about cash or. And that's what I titled tonight's broadcast. And we're going to look at some interesting alternatives to cash savings. But before we do that, I do want to remind you guys that the book is available, the audiobook. Which audiobook? My very first narrated audiobook, written by Jonathan Field, narrated by yours truly. It is called Empowered: Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense. And I recommend that everybody gets a listen of this book. Get it as a gift for someone. It's available on Amazon, or you can go through Amazon, you can go through Audible. Either or works. Easiest way to get it, go to kevinstew.com and you'll see an image of the book cover right there. Just click on it. It takes you straight to where you can get to download your copy of Empowered Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense, narrated by yours truly, Kevin Stew, written by Jonathan Field. So, get your copy today.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school,
In math,
I learned that I'm ugly and useless.
I'm trash.
And in gym,
In biology,
I learned that I'm
I
pathetic
learned that I'm fat
and a
and
joke.
stupid.
In history,
Today in
I learned that
school,
I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick.
And in
And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell.
and a joke.
In chemistry, I learned that no one likes
In
me.
biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid.
In English,
And in
I learned
math,
that I make people
I
sick.
learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today
The only thing I didn't learn today
The only thing I didn't learn,
It's why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Ladies, lovers of the music, it is here, the brand spanking new album from Ed Robinson and Ian Sweetness, a tribute to Teddy Pendergrass. Amazing. 10 blazing tracks, 2 amazing singers going hit for hit, classic for classic. A tribute to Teddy Pendergrass, Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson. Oh man. It's out now. Available everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your music, it is there. A tribute to Teddy Pendergrass, brand spanking new, Ian Sweetness, and Robinson. Ladies, gentlemen, you've got to have this in your collection. Get it now. Available everywhere. Bruv, my last baby already gone off to college, mate. Is what this is send come gimme, man. Is a big album still, I love it. Big up Ed Robinson, Ian Sweetness, but this better come with a contraceptive.
Hey, I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew, working on the night shift radio show. Won't go changing like the weather, just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin Stew sell his soul? That's a word and honor. It's Christine representing word and honor. Still I say DJ Kevin Stew.
life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Wake up to start my day out. Thank God for my whole life. Go outside, sun is shining. Take a car drive to a nice beach. Not a worry in the world, just me by myself. Not a worry in the world, left my problems at home. Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Say love, we should meet up at the movies around 3, love. What you wanna see? What you wanna eat? Let's go have a drink. Endless possibilities. Not a word in the world, just me and my girls. Not a worry in the world, we just came to have fun.
of Rachel Davy Lee. Track is called Life is Good. And life is really good as long as things are going well. When things are not going so well, we don't really consider life to be so good. But it's still good. And as such, we need to really enjoy life. Now, in this thing called life, we have to do a little spending here and a little spending there. And in order to do a little spending, we need to be earning, right? And sometimes we would like for our earnings to work for us. And so we look for investment opportunities. Now, typically, I would feature or focus on a lot of the investment opportunities that are available here in the US. But I'm getting some information right now from a UK-based website, and it's called Unbiased. And they look at some alternatives to cash savings. Now, recent studies, according to this article, show that cautious savers are putting away more in cash than ever before. But with record low interest rates, these sums are fast being eroded by inflation. So, what better places might there be for your money? The article's author, Nick Green, decides that he's going to give us some insight. He's a financial journalist. Nick says people in the UK are sitting on more cash savings than ever before, according to the latest research. Lower spending as the result of the coronavirus lockdown has led to a pile-up of £77 billion in savings accounts in just the first half of 2020, compared to £82 billion across the whole of 2016. And these are findings of Janus Henderson Investment Trusts, which further suggests that by hoarding this amount as low-interest cash, Brits are missing out on around £1,300 of growth per household. So, for all my UK listeners on One Harmony Radio, you might want to pay attention. Now, of course, Janus have products to sell, so claims like these should be treated with due caution. But other research confirms some key facts. Average savings per adult have risen from £273 per month per pre-lockdown to £495 per month, according to creditfix.co.uk. Meanwhile, figures from the Yorkshire Building Society show that 30% of people are now saving £200 or more a month compared to 21% in 2019, and that 1 in 4 people are increasing their savings. Now, I wonder how close we are to that at this point in 2022, when a lot of people are forgetting about the lockdowns and talking about that as something in the distant past. Now, this stashing of cash couldn't have happened at a worse time, in the view of James de Saus-Mares, director of Janus Henderson. Average interest rates on cash accounts are now just 0.39%, while the very best regular savings account offer 2.75% at most in the UK. In my view, interest rates are set to stay low for a very long time, so there's no light at the end of this tunnel for cash. Banks call this Muppet money because they know savers are missing out on much better opportunities elsewhere. So basically, they're playing you like puppets. Now, is it true? Let's look at some alternatives to cash savings as Nick presents it in this article. and look at some of the potential rewards on offer, the risks involved in using them, and precautions to take if you do. First, there are stocks and shares. Investing in equities is one of the most popular alternatives to cash. The advantage is that you can potentially gain more growth over time, and often in the short term also, that you can from just a cash savings account, especially where cash interest rates are low as they are now. Equities can have significant appeal. The disadvantage is that equities can also fall in value. So you can lose money, sometimes all of your money. The COVID-19 crisis wiped a third of global stock market prices. So anyone who bought just before it will have lost a huge chunk of their money, which may take years to recover to the original level. This is always a risk to bear in mind. But you know what they say, high risk, high return. However, on average, stock markets consistently outperform most cash savings over longer periods. We're talking about 5 years or more. It also is possible to spread your risk by investing a range of different equities or through a fund. This doesn't eliminate the danger of loss, but it can reduce it significantly. If you plan a strategy carefully and take advice, you can keep the risk within acceptable levels for you. Now, aside from simply buying shares, there are some ways that you can invest on the stock market. So do your research. An ISA is a tax-efficient savings account, free of tax on the interest or growth. Stocks and shares ISA is one that holds non-cash assets such as equities, but can include things like bonds and investment trusts also. If you're going to be investing less than £20,000 a year, it makes sense to use stocks and shares ISA for whatever investments you buy. Note that if you save into a cash ISA, it will reduce your $20,000 annual allowance. But with interest rates so low, cash ISAs currently have very limited advantages. By reinvesting the growth plus the tax savings, your investment can grow inside the ISA more quickly than it could outside of it. If you're looking to start investing, you can view and compare their selections of stocks and shares ISA on the unbiased.co.uk website. And this is mainly for the UK listeners and those who have investments in the UK. Now, if you have people in the UK and you're not located in the UK, you can tell them, hey, check out this broadcast that Kevin Stew did. He might have some information for you that could help you. Now, another option for holding investments is stocks and shares lifetime ISA. And this works in a similar way to an ordinary stock and share ISA, but with one large advantage and one key disadvantage. If you're saving specifically for buying a first home or for retirement or even both, then everything you pay into your lifetime ISA will get a 25% boost from the government up to a maximum of £1,000 bonus, £1,000 bonus per year. However, if you withdraw money before the age of 60 for any reason other than buying your first home, you pay 25% penalty, which will wipe out all your bonuses and then some. So quite similarly to what the US has in their retirement packages, where there's a penalty involved with taking money out of your retirement package before a specific age. What's it, 60.5 years of age or 62.5 years of age? I don't remember now, whichever one it is. These have a penalty also. Now, there are also index funds and EFTs, and which you find everywhere. Index funds and exchange-traded funds, your EFTs, are a relatively easy way to start investing in the stock market. They remove the hassle of picking specific stocks and can be more secure, a more secure vehicle compared to speculating on the open market. Both are types of mutual funds that invest your money in a range of securities. Securities include equities but can also include bonds. The diversity of these broad market funds can protect you from sector specific crashes, which is why they're considered lower risk. A wide range are available, and some are much riskier than others, but by taking independent advice, you can choose one that suits your level and risk tolerance. There are unit trusts and investment trusts. Now, unit trusts are a collective investment set up under a trust deed. Using pooled money, a fund manager will invest in a portfolio of assets on your behalf. This trust aims to invest in well-performing assets, usually equities, bonds, and property funds, and usually pays out any returns quarterly or biannually as either income or growth. As usual, returns are not guaranteed and you can lose money. The risk you take in any investment. But again, high risk, high return. Investment trusts are similar to unit trusts, but with some key differences. One is that investment trusts are able to borrow money to buy more shares, whereas unit trusts cannot. This gives them more potential for generating growth, but also exposes the investor to more risk. An investment trust is also not just valued according to the value of the asset it holds, but by the demand for its own shares on the stock market. This offers you the chance to magnify your gains. If the asset value exceeds the investment trust's own share price, then you will definitely benefit from it. One of the more experienced investor value investing is what helped to make Warren Buffett his fortune. So everybody wants to pay attention to this one. It's called value investing. The principle behind value investing is simple. Buy stocks in promising companies that are currently undervalued and sell them years later when the company has fulfilled its promise. Simple. So much, well, that's the theory part of it. The hard part is identifying the companies and predicting their fortunes. To do this successfully, you'll probably need a few good years of investing experience behind you, or someone with that kind of knowledge. And will probably be successful in business yourself. It takes patience. It takes a lot of initial capital. So it's really one for the wealthier investor, but with a little bit of savvy or investment savvy, you could become a wealthier investor. So it's just a matter of navigating the space. Yeah? Then you have bonds. Not James. No, not that one. Financial bonds. If equities look like too much of a bumpy ride, then you might prefer investing in government or corporate bonds. A bond is basically a loan to the country or corporation that issues the bonds. You lend them your money for a few years, and they pay you back with interest. Simple. Therefore, bonds are typically used to generate a predictable return over a set period of time. Bonds are usually described as lower risk than equities, but the reality is a little bit more complex than just that. The bonds of stable governments, gilts, are generally the most secure, but bonds from emerging markets or upcoming corporations will be far riskier. But again, high risk, high returns. They could offer higher returns. As ever, it is about balancing the risks against the potential rewards. You always want to Just weigh out your options. And when you make a decision, whatever comes, you roll with it. And remember, if you choose an investment vehicle that you have to stick with it till the end of the investment period, you stick with it till the end of the investment period, and then you move on. Win, lose, or draw. You can include bonds and stocks and shares. You can include bonds in stocks and shares, ISA, and some low risk or medium risk bonds can serve as a stabilizer against more volatile equities. Then there's peer-to-peer lending, a variation on a bond theme that has grown in recent years is peer-to-peer lending. And this too is about making loans and being repaid with interest. Except this time the loans are not just to businesses, but also to individuals. And this is via a central lending platform hosted online. Peer-to-peer lending has surged in popularity due to the prospect of much higher interest rates and cash savings, and P2P platforms specifically resemble savings accounts in the way they are represented or presented to consumers. But it's important to remember they are not. Though they are regulated by the FCA, they are FCA, not FDA. Remember, no, this is UK information. They are not guaranteed by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, the FSCS, if the provider collapses. So you can lose your money in this way. Predicted returns are also not guaranteed. Nevertheless, it is possible to earn steady returns from big platforms, some of which have been active since 2005. So if you're not familiar with P2P, then you might want to do some research because there's information out there. There is innovative financial ISA, where you can now invest in P2P lending in a more tax-efficient way, using an innovative finance ISA or IFISA. This is similar to the stocks and shares ISA, but contains P2P lending loans instead of equities. All the risks and caveats of P2P lending still apply. And the higher the predict interest, the higher the risk. The IFISA can be good to hold concurrently with stocks and shares ISA, as though the risks are broadly similar, they will not necessarily be vulnerable to the same risks. So a little bit of diversity there. Then there's crowdfunding, and people all over have heard of crowdfunding. A distant cousin of P2P lending, crowdfunding is where you directly invest your money in a new company or project. Equity or investment bond crowdfunding gives you a share in the business, and thus eventually a portion of the profits. If you're lucky enough or shrewd enough to pick the next big thing, as the crowdfunders of online bank Monzo did, then it can be one of the fastest way to grow your money. Far more likely is that you will simply earn a thank you and perhaps some free gifts from the company. Crowdfunding is more in the area of speculation than investment though. But there's no doubt it works for some. But again, not everything works for everyone. Oil and gold are investments that carry their own mystique, and I think always have. Despite their reputation, they are not typically a fast route to riches. So if it is that you're seeking, don't go this way. As assets, oil and gold are effectively chalk and cheese, with oil being inherently volatile and gold being famously stable in a crisis. Oil prices are highly sensitive to a wide range of factors, mainly supply and demand, but also global politics. Oil stocks, futures, or options can therefore make a good asset for the high risk slice of your overall portfolio. Returns generated here can be skimmed off into safer assets, while any losses can be limited to the small amount you invest. Gold, on the other hand, tend to mirror the rest of the economy in how it performs. In other words, when the economy is thriving, gold will tend to lose value or stagnate. But when the stock markets crash and uncertainty looms, gold tends to pile on in value, as it is the asset of last resort. Gold therefore makes an ideal counterweight to risky commodities such as oil. So bear this in mind when balancing out your portfolio. So far we've mentioned the investment that used to be on everyone's lips. Well, we have not, actually. And this is cryptocurrency. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies over the years have proved among the most volatile assets of all, with a stellar peak around 2018, followed by a very rough ride. And the ride has been rough up until this point. There is very little chance that we'll see a repeat of the period between Bitcoin when it made millionaires overnight. Though over the past couple of years, it has shown a total of 15% growth overall, albeit with many ups and downs, and a few suicides in the mix. IFAs don't advise on cryptocurrency, so you navigate this at your own risk. And you want to add this to your highly volatile investments. Now, not an asset class as such, but a pension fund can double as a medium-term investment for people approaching pension freedom age. Pensions can be accessed at any age from 55 onward. So if you're looking at investments for the next 5 to 10 years and you are in your late 40s or even older, your pension shouldn't be discounted as an option. Everything you pay in will benefit from an effective 25% boost thanks to tax relief, and all growth is tax-free also. Now bear in mind that there are downsides to taking your pension early, so take advice before choosing this option. And that happens here in the US too. If you find yourself with excess cash savings on income or excess income, then however you decide to invest it, make sure you have a strategy. Don't just go for the route that seems to offer the highest return, as the corresponding risk might not be suited for your goals. Weigh your pros and your cons and act responsibly. Treat it like drinking. Act responsibly. We're going to take another quick little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more. And we're going to see if we can look at some of the best investments on as reported by Bankrate for 2022. Since we were talking about some types of investments just now, let's see what 2022 offers as some of the best investments. And this is information that is just about 2 weeks old. So we will have a pretty good idea. I don't think much has changed in the past 2 weeks. So you can check that out as soon as we come back from the break. Go ahead and call your friends, tell your friends, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too, because we all want to keep a little change in our pockets. In fact, if our pockets are empty, we want to get some in there and want to know how to do so. Yeah? So we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, I'm representing for DJ Kevin's too, working on the night shift. The night shift radio show won't go changing like the weather just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin's true sell his soul? That's a word and honor.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
Making great music is one thing, sharing it with the world, that's another. Let the professionals at Reggae Global Entertainment help you to another level. Specializing in artist management, booking, public relations and marketing, and promotion, Reggae Global Entertainment can help you with event planning, websites, photography, and video production, press releases, legal services, and graphic design. They can even help you with music production, so you can get the sound that you want every time. Call Reggae Global Entertainment at 954-804-8199. That's 804-8199. Or visit them online at reggaeglobalentertainment.com.
MRE Entertainment, in association with VPAL Distribution, presents the brand new hit single.
I'm Robert French, and you're listening to my new song, Every Day of My Life.
Now available on all major digital platforms.
Every day of my life will be, I just loving you. Spend the rest of my life always, I just loving you. Every day of my life will be, I just loving you. Spend the rest of my life.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
Yes. Akar Mantino, I'm making notes right now. You are locked in to DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift.
Divine Creator, thank you for rising us up this morning, oh God. Thank you for everything that you've done for us in the past, everything that you're doing for us right now, and everything that you'll do for us in the future. Take control of this moment, oh God. Have your way and let your perfect will be done. Amen. So make we start with a prayer, yo. The bush a burn, so I don't stop fire now. Me and the word, so me move kinda higher now. Spiritual war, up ready, can't tire now. People make we start with a prayer, yo. And if you still a fear that one, yeah, yo. Me and the voice, but Jaja and the power, yo. Spiritual war, up ready, can't tire now. So make we pray for the demons. Them out a road naked and a pre-man. Purpose mislead, destruction. Ultimate life goal conversion. Oh God, make we stay in the word, man. Genesis to the book of Revelation. Me we shield when we encounter Satan. The break we pass out with no last in the Gideon. Mighty one, address every funny girl, every funny man. Clean dirty heart, dirty intention, and deal with the killer where you kill for the wrong. Please bless up every juvenile and every young man. Protect the little girls, give them guidance. Bless up Jamaica, me little island, and bless I plus I song. Alright, so make we start with a prayer, yo. The bush a burn, so I don't stop fire now. Me and the word, so me move kinda higher now. Spiritual war, up ready, can't tire now. People make we start with a prayer, yo. And if you still a fear that one, yo. Me and the voice, but Jaja and the power, yo. Spiritual strength. You alone know what me going up against. Spiritual war, me a fight to the end. And I owe me too, so I owe me defend. Have I got enemy, but me know you are my friend. Standing on me feet, caramanti no bend. The weapon I use is a pad and pen. With that I beat and batter bruise them. Alright, me put in the work extend. Push myself to the limit transcend. Way past the borders, the creeks and bends. So me can do your will, uphold my head. Enough no believe, some say God dead. Some a praise man, some a praise themselves. I a praise you, cause I you give me strength. And that's my prayer right now, amen. Alright, so make we start with a prayer, yo. The bush a burn, so I don't stop fire now. Me get the word, so me move kinda higher now. Spiritual war, I be ready, can't tire now. People make we start with a prayer, yo.
The sound of Carman to bring us back from the break. A track called Swap. Start with a prayer. And that's what we should do, you know. We're starting everything. Start with a prayer, yeah? Start off your day, start off your investment, start your exam, start your greeting. Blessings to you, Pat. You see how that work? How you doing? That's not a bad place to watch me, you know, Pat. You know, when you think about it, it's not a bad place to watch me at all. Welcome back to the broadcast. Tonight we're talking cash or, and you fill in the blank, as we talk a little bit of personal finance here, community and finance. Now, according to bankrate.com, to enjoy a comfortable financial future, investing is absolutely essential for most people. As the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated, a seemingly stable economy can be quickly turned on its head, leaving those who were not prepared for tough times scrambling for income, which, let's face it, is a lot of people. But with the economy struggling through a bout of high inflation and rising interest rates, what are the best investments for investors to make in this year 2022? One idea is to have a mix of safer investments and riskier high return ones. So, first of all, you have to ask the question, why invest though? Investing can provide you with another source of income. It can fund your retirement or even get you out of a financial jam. Above all, investing grows your wealth, helping you meet your financial goals and increasing your purchasing power over time. Or maybe you recently sold your home or you came into some money. It's a wise decision to let that money do some work for you. Now, while investing can build wealth, you also want to balance potential gains with the risk that are involved. You know, again, there's that old moniker, high risk, high return. Also, high loss. So let's keep that in mind. You'll want to be in a financial position to do so, meaning you'll need manageable debt levels. You want to have an adequate emergency fund and be able to ride out the ups and downs of the market without needing to access your money. There are many ways to invest, from very safe choices such as CDs and money market accounts to medium risk options such as corporate bonds and even higher risk picks such as stock index funds. And that is great news because it means you can find investments that offer a variety of returns and fit your risk profiles. It also means you can combine investments to create a well-rounded and diversified or safer portfolio. One of my investments is right here, kevinstew.com. And you can contribute to my investment by clicking the little donate button on kevinstew.com. You know, shameless plug. So there's that. And that helps me to give you information like this and other bits of information that I've brought to you over the years. Now, best investments in 2022. Let's do an overview. And I think at the top of this list should be self. I really do. If anyone is interested, let me know. And I will send you a link via WhatsApp and you can share it with others. Okay, so Pat is saying that she has an opportunity for people to invest. So if you're interested, you can contact her. Well, you can contact me and I can get you in touch with her. Now, best investments in 2022. Number one on their list is high yield savings accounts. A high yield online savings account pays you interest on your cash balance. And just like a savings account earning pennies at your brick and mortar bank, high yield online savings accounts are accessible vehicles for your cash. So who are they good for? Well, a savings account is a good vehicle for those who need to access cash in their near future. A high yield savings account also works well for risk averse investors and want to avoid the risk that they won't get their money back. The risks involved is that the banks that offer these accounts are FDIC insured, so you don't have to worry about losing your deposit. While high yield savings accounts are considered safe investments, like CDs, you do run the risk of losing purchasing power over time due to inflation. And this is if rates are too low. Now, the rewards involved with fewer overhead costs, you can typically earn much higher interest rates at online banks. So, you might want to check out an online bank. Then you have, you can also typically access the money more quickly by transferring to your primary bank or maybe even an ATM. You can browse, you can search around online for the best high yield savings accounts that are available. Otherwise, banks and credit unions offer savings accounts, though you may not get the best rates. Then you have short-term CODs. Certificate of deposit, or CDs, I should say. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, are issued by banks and generally offer a higher interest rate than savings accounts. And short-term CDs may be better options when you expect rates to rise, allowing you to reinvest at higher rates when the CD matures. And of course, you'll have more to invest because your CD has matured. And you're getting interest off of that. So who are they good for? Because of their safety and higher payout, CDs can be a good choice for retirees who don't need immediate income and are able to lock up their money for a bit. A CD works well for risk-averse investors, especially those who need money at specific times and can tie up their cash in exchange for a bit more yield than they'd find on savings accounts. CDs are considered safe investments, but they do carry reinvestment risks. The risk that when interest rates fall, investors will earn less when they reinvest principal and interest in the new CDs with lower interest, as what happened in 2020 and 2021. The opposite risk is that rates will rise and investors won't be able to take advantage because they've already locked their money in a CD. And with rates expected to rise even further in 2022, as they have been doing, it may make sense to stick to short-term CDs so that you can reinvest at higher rates in the near future. It is important to note that inflation and taxes could significantly erode the purchasing power of your investment. With a CD, the financial institution pays you interest at regular intervals. Once it matures, you get your original principal plus any accrued interest. CDs are a great investment and annuities are great for retirement. Yes, indeed they are, Pat. You can, again, search online to find your best CDs available instead of looking for what is just available in your general location, in your immediate geographical area. You can really just search everywhere in the country, because if it's online that you're going to get it anyway, you're online. Yeah. Alternatively, banks and credit unions typically offer CDs, though you're not likely to find the best rates locally. So check around, shop around, and don't just think where you are. Because just like this information, it goes out to people in at least on 2 continents. So you can shop around just about everywhere thanks to the World Wide Web. Now, government bond funds are mutual funds, and this is what we're going to look at next: short-term government bond funds. These are mutual funds, or ETFs, that invest in debt securities issued by the US government and its agencies. Like short-term CDs, short-term government bond funds don't expose you to too much risk when interest rates rise, as they did this year in 2022. The funds invest in US government debt and mortgage-backed securities issued by government-sponsored enterprises. These government bond funds are well suited for the low-risk investor. These funds can also be a good choice for beginning investors and those looking for cash flow. Government bond funds may work well for risk-averse investors, though some types of funds, like long-term bond funds, may fluctuate a lot more than short-term funds due to changes in the interest rate. Funds that invest in government debt instruments are considered to be among the safest instruments or safest investments because the bonds are backed by the full faith and credit of the US government. I'll keep some comments about that to myself for now. If interest rates rise, the price of the existing bonds drop. And if interest rates decline, the prices of existing bonds rise. Interest rate risk is greater for long-term bonds than it is for short-term bonds. However, short-term bond funds will have minimal impact from rising rates, and the funds will gradually increase their interest rate as prevailing rates rise. Now, if inflation stays high, the interest rate may not keep up as you lose purchasing power. Bond funds pay out on a monthly basis. And with rates surging higher in 2022, these funds pay quite a bit more than they have in recent past. You can buy bond funds at many online brokers, namely those that allow you to trade ETFs or mutual funds. Most brokers that offer ETFs allow you to buy and sell them at no commission, while mutual funds may require you to pay a commission or make a minimum purchase, though not always. Then you have your Series I bonds. Ever heard of those? Well, the US Treasury issues saving bonds for individual investors, and an increasingly popular option in 2022 is the Series I bond. This bond helps build in protection against inflation. It pays a base interest rate and then adds on a component based on the inflation rate. The result, if inflation rises, so does the payout. But the reverse is also true. If inflation falls, so will the interest rate. The inflation adjustment resets every 6 months. Like other government-issued debt, Series I bonds are attractive for risk-averse investors or low-risk investors who do not want to run any risk of default. These bonds are also a good option for investors who want to protect their investment against inflation. However, investors are limited to buying $10,000 in any single calendar year. Though you can apply up to an additional $5,000 in your annual tax refund to the purchase of Series I bonds also. And there's a little bit of a little known secret to get around that annual limit. Like everything else, there's a loophole. You just have to find it. The Series I bond protects your investment against inflation, which is a key downside to investing in most bonds. And like other government-issued debt, these bonds are considered among the safest in the world against the risk of default. Series I bonds earn interest for 30 years if they are not redeemed for cash, but the rate will fluctuate with the prevailing rate of inflation. You can buy Series I bonds directly from the US Treasury at treasurydirect.gov. The government will not charge you a commission for doing so. So if you're looking to become a safe investor, this might be one of the vehicles that you want to choose. Roth IRAs are good too, but digital banking is great. Investing in real estate is another option. Yep. Cryptocurrency, especially US Tether, because it's a stable coin. That's one of your choices, Pat. US Tether. Short-term corporate bond funds. Now, like I said about cryptocurrency earlier, it is operated at your own risk, because you're not it's not FDIC funded. It's very volatile, so you need to pay close attention to what your currency is doing at any given time. Yeah, so go ahead. It's available just about everywhere you can get cryptocurrency. You might need to get a crypto, what's it called, a crypto wallet, as cyber wallet or a digital wallet, but you know that's minimal. It just takes a little bit of research and finding what you want. But again, invest like other investments, you operate pretty much at your own risk. Now, short-term corporate bond funds. These corporations sometimes raise money by issuing bonds to investors. And these can be packaged into bond funds that own bonds issued by potentially hundreds of corporations. Short-term bonds have an average maturity of 1 to 5 years, which makes them less susceptible to interest rates fluctuations than intermediate or long-term bonds. Corporate bond funds can be an excellent choice for investors looking for cash flow, such as retirees or those who want to reduce their overall portfolio risk but still earn a return. Short-term corporate bonds can be good for risk-averse investors who want a bit more yield than government bond funds. As is the case with other bond funds, short-term corporate bond funds are not FDIC insured. They are not. There's also always a chance that companies will have their credit rating downgraded or run into financial trouble and default on the bonds. To reduce that risk, make sure your fund is made up of high-quality corporate bonds. Investment-grade short-term bond funds often reward investors with higher returns than government and municipal bond funds, but the greater rewards come with added risk. You can buy and sell corporate bond funds with any broker that allows you to trade ETFs or mutual funds. Most borrowers allow you to trade ETFs for no commission, whereas many brokers may require a commission or minimum purchase to buy a mutual fund. That cannot be stressed enough, or you can't be reminded of it enough. Then you have your S&P 500 index funds. You often hear the S&P mentioned on news reports. The fund is based on about 500 of the largest American companies, meaning it comprises mainly of many of the successful companies of the world. Your Amazons, your Berkshire Hathaways, your Amexes. These are some of the companies that you find on your S&P 500. Now, if you want to achieve higher returns than more traditional banking products or bonds, a good alternative is an S&P 500 index fund. Though it does come with more volatility, an S&P 500 index fund is an excellent choice for beginning investors because it provides broad, diversified exposure to the stock market. An S&P 500 index fund is a good choice for any stock investor looking for a diversified investment and who can stay invested for at least 3 to 5 years. An S&P 500 fund is one of the less risky ways to invest in stocks because it is made up of the market's top companies and is highly diversified. Now, of course, it still includes stocks, so it's going to be more volatile than bonds or any bank products. It is not insured by the government, so you can lose money based on fluctuations in value. However, the index has done quite well over time. Right now, it looks a little bit shaky, but still, it has done well over time. The index rallied furiously after its pandemic-driven plunge in March 2020, but it has performed poorly in 2022. So investors may want to proceed with caution and stick to their long-term investment plan. Like nearly any fund, an S&P 500 index fund offers immediate diversification, allowing you to own a piece of all those companies. Though a small piece, it's a piece nonetheless. The fund includes companies from every industry, making it more resilient than many investments. Over time, the index has returned about 10% annually. These funds can be purchased with very low expense ratios. You can purchase an S&P 500 index fund at any broker that allows you to trade ETFs or mutual funds. Then you have your dividend stock funds. And dividends are portions of a company's profit that can be paid out to shareholders, usually on a quarterly basis. Buying individual stocks, whether they pay dividends or not, is better suited for intermediate and advanced investors. But you can buy a group of them in a stock fund and reduce your risk. Dividend stock funds are a good selection for almost any kind of stock investor, but can be better for those who are looking for income. Those who need income can stay invested for longer periods of time and may find these attractive. As with any stock investment, dividend stocks come with risk. They are considered safer than growth stocks or other non-dividend stocks, but you should choose your portfolio carefully. Make sure you invest in companies with a solid history of dividend increases rather than selecting one with the highest current yield. That could be a sign of upcoming trouble. However, even when well-regarded companies, they can be hit by a crisis. So a good reputation is finally not a protection against the company's slashing its dividend or eliminating it entirely. However, you eliminate many of the risks by buying a dividend stock with a diversified collection of assets, reducing your reliance on any single company. Even your stock market investment can become a little safer with stocks that pay dividends. With a dividend stock, not only can you gain on your investment through long-term market appreciation, you'll also earn cash in the short term. Then there are value stock funds. These funds invest in value stocks, those that are more bargain priced than others in the market. And of course, we like value, right? Comment here on YouTube Live. Cryptocurrency, NFTs is another good asset. Hyperday wallet is a great one that you can generate great rewards up to $50,000 with that wallet. One can invest in electric, gas, and oil. I see you've been doing some research, Pat. Nice. I like it. Now, value stock funds. These funds invest in value stocks, those that are more bargain price than others in the market. When stocks run up in valuation, as they do from time to time, many investors wonder where they can put their investment dollars. Value stock funds may be a good option. Value stock funds are good for investors who are comfortable with the volatility associated with investing in stocks. Investors in stock funds need to have a longer term investing horizon, at least 3 to 5 years, to ride out any bumps in the market. Value stock funds will tend to be safer than other kinds of stock funds because of their bargain price, but they're still composed of stocks. So they will fluctuate a lot more than safer investments such as short-term bonds. Value stocks are not insured by the government either. Value stocks tend to do better as interest rates rise and growth stocks become less attractive on a relative basis. Many value stocks also pay a dividend, so that's an additional attraction for many investors. Value stock funds can come in two major types, your ETFs or mutual funds. ETFs are usually available commission-free and without a minimum purchase at most major online brokers. Then you have your NASDAQ Index 100 funds. You have rental housing is an option also. You have cryptocurrency that we mentioned earlier and that Pat gave us a couple of clues on or tips on. Overall, as you're deciding what you want to invest in, you'll want to consider several factors, including your risk tolerance, time horizon, your knowledge of investing, your financial situation, and how much you can invest. If you're looking to grow wealth, you can opt for lower risk investments that pay a modest return, or you can take on more risk and aim for higher return. There's typically a trade-off in investing between risk and return. Or you can take a balanced approach, having absolutely safe money investments while still giving yourself the opportunity for long-term growth. I would say think generational wealth. So even if you don't get to benefit from it, think of your children benefiting from it and teach them how it was that you got into it so they can now turn around and start to benefit from it and then pass it on to their children. This is how we generate generational wealth. And as the generations go on, we need it now more than ever. So if you haven't been benefiting from generational wealth, you need to be the one to start. And with you being that starting place, you can now set a legacy. You can start a legacy. And this will be your legacy to pass on. And your family, your name will live on through your generations to come, the next few generations. as a result of your investment, as a result of your taking time to do the research. And the investment is educational investment as well as financial investment, because you're learning something on how to invest financially, and then you're growing from there. And there's no turning back after you start to grow. So take that into consideration as we move into this Christmas season, this Thanksgiving period of 2022. Because 2023, if the last 2 years is an indication, boy, we're still in for quite a ride. Yeah? So start your investing now. Start moderately and build on it. It's the race is not for the swift. But I guess you can buy a scratch off here and a scratch off there and a lot of ticket here and a lot of ticket there, and you might get lucky. You just might. Or you take it at a snail's pace and your children or your grandchildren will thank you, because they get to benefit from your current investment.
Things used to be so good. What happened? Make me go back.
Getting into musical therapy right now.
Calling me, boy, wasting all my time, boy, got nothing.
This is Sona China Nicole working out with Tanisha. And I hope I stimulated your mind, because this track here is called Stimulate My Mind.
Things used to be so good. What happened? Make me go back.
This is the remix. Why you calling me, boy, wasting all my time, boy, got nothing to say, boy.
Pat, if you don't have any wine, can you do a gyrate?
You ain't trying to elevate me. Tell me about my history and how things really ought to be, and how you gonna be the change, and how we gonna make the change in this cold world. Yeah. Stimulate my mind, stimulate my mind, make love to my mind, make love to my mind.
You took for granted everything I used to do. Gave you my heart, but still that's not enough for you. You keep on playing games. I think it's time you ought to change. I don't need someone that makes me feel that way.
Stimulate my mind, stimulate my mind. Let me give you a throwback down on memory lane. Take me to the park when conversation sparks, and it was really going somewhere. Talk about our fears, you hold me, and planning out our life. We were conscious of the work to be done. If we could carry on, but a love so strong. If we could save it, baby, well, I don't think so. I don't think so. Where were you when I was deep in problems? Left me alone for me to solve them. Look at what we had, we started. And even though my heart says to, my mind won't let me be with you. My mind won't let me be with you. My mind won't let me be with you. Yeah. Heart says to,
This is the sound of Marcy Dread working out to the fair puppy. It's called The Feeling Inside.
Sometimes when we touch, I get a feeling it's too much. But when you're away, I know I should have let you.
I guess they get this feeling inside because of the stimulating of the mind. This is on a Mr. Ed Robinson. Yeah, he got married, so I have to call him Mr. now.
Raise the roof and have some fun.
This is his rendition of All Night Long.
The work to be done. Let the music play on, play on, play on. Everybody sing, everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild romance. We're going to party, carnival, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. We're going to party, carnival, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. All night long. All night, all night, all night long. All night, all night, all night long. All night, all night long. Ooh, yeah. People dancing all in the streets. See the rhythm all in their feet. Life is good, wild and sweet. Let the music play on, play on, play on, play on. Feel it in your heart and feel it in your soul. Let the music take control. We're going to party, live, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. We're going to party, live, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing my song. All night long. All night, all night long. All night, all night long.
Which wedding is that, Pat?
Jumbo, jumbo, wait to party.
Tell me now, which wedding is that?
Jambalaya, jambalite, sesimonia. Yeah, jumbo, jumbo.
This is music from Wayne Wonder working out with Frankie Sly. It's called Party All Night Long. Today we're going home in about 10 minutes though. You don't have to, but we are. I tell you what, Pat, I'll order a wedding cake and you can taste a piece of that one. Been there, done that. Twice. This is on a Come on now, Pat. This is on a dangling track called This Lifetime. Yeah, Pat, I've done it twice in this lifetime. What more do you want from me?
This lifetime won't be enough to give you all this love. I'm feeling inside, it's spiraling up. One life won't be enough.
In fact, my first wedding cake, double dad's Christmas cake. It was Christmas Day 1999. Yep. Believe it or not.
To a
Cuando todo al despertar me habla de los dos.
This is Cat Smith working out to the UT Ras. It's called En Caso de Incendio. Translated, in case of emergency. Well, actually, it's called In Case of Fire. But when is a fire not emergency? En caso de incendio. Uh-huh.
Todavía se te nota en la mirada que me extrañas y te mueres por volver. Y en las noches abrazada de la almohada mi recuerdo enciende el fuego de tu piel. En caso de incendio estoy disponible. Ya sabes mi número, cuenta conmigo. Dispuesto a pagar esa sed que te queda. Caso de incendio, abriendo mis brazos, quería rescatarte de todas las penas. Verás que esperar nos está consumiendo. Si amor como el nuestro no tiene final. Never make it unhappy. Make sure everything is fine. You know how much I pour on you. When you're chilling and wine. Sounds so fine. On anytime when you was kind of give you more than rest of red jungle like special. So the vibe jump up, Mr. Style. En caso de incendio, abriendo mis brazos, iré a rescatarte de todas las penas.
But in case of that fire, you know you want to keep your things safe. Remember, as we keep our finances, our money on hand, because that's where we started, you know, keeping some money on hand, some cash on hand. If we're going to keep some cash on hand, you want to keep it in a safe place. If you're going to keep about $1,000 worth of it, you want to keep it in a fire and waterproof safe. And then, you know, in case of a disaster, you know, you can get to it when the dust settles, yeah? But in the midst of it all, do pay attention to how you are going to go about taking care of your investments. Cat Smith and UT Ras taking us out in the background, track called En Caso de Incendio. Good night, Pat. You take care until we do it again. And everyone else, you do likewise. Remember, look out for members of your community. And remember, your community is not just the development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. So those that you pass on the bus, the plane, the boat, or the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. My name is Kevin Stewart, so I like to do it to you, for you, and with you every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here, kevinstew.com and affiliates. Catch you tomorrow for Healthy Love, all being well. UT Ras, Cat Smith taking us out. Y'all take care of yourselves. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. From right here in South Florida, I bid you a good night. Be good. If you can't be good at it. Take care until. Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.